Hi, I'm Miho. Today I'm going to share how to create a picture postcard in Procreate. In Japan, there's a custom of sending postcards with images and messages that represent each season. Traditionally, these postcards are made with calligraphy brush and ink, but today let's create lifelike postcards like these with Procreate. With Procreate, you can even reproduce these stroke paths and ink bleeds. So without further ado, let's try drawing a Mount Fuji design and walk through the processes of making such postcards. First, we should find a background image for our postcard using an app called Unsplash. Unsplash is an app whose icon looks like this. This app offers a wide selection of high-quality images. The images provided in other similar apps like Pinterest are not copyright-free, so you can't sell products made with images or illustrations downloaded from Pinterest. On the other hand, the images from Unsplash are basically free of copyrights. Alright, now tap the magnifier icon and type Japanese paper in the search bar at the top where it says Search Photos. You'll see some images of Japanese paper, which is called washi in Japanese. Choose an image that's not too grainy. This picture is too rough textured, so pick something that looks smoother, like this. When you've found an image you like, tap the arrow icon at the bottom right to download it to your device. When you tap an image you like, you'll see more related images as you scroll down. You might find an even better image you can save and use it in a second. When you're good with the background image, let's go back to the Procreate app. In the Procreate app, create a canvas in the size of a postcard. Tap the plus symbol, select the black rectangle, and enter the width and height. Set the width to 300 millimeters and the height to 444 millimeters. In the title section, enter something like postcard or any name that's easy for you to identify. Then tap Create on the top right. This canvas now has the same ratio as an actual postcard. The actual size is about this big, so bear in mind as you start drawing your illustrations and letters. Next, let's import the Japanese paper image you saved earlier to this canvas. When you see the three dots as you tap the top part of the screen, tap on that and select Split View. This will take you back to the home screen, so open the Photos app. In the Photos app, show the full list of the photos on your device. Drag and drop the Japanese paper image you've saved so it'll show up on the canvas. You're not going to be using the Photos app anymore, so long press and swipe the gray bar in the middle. Right now, the image is a bit small for the canvas, so pinch it to enlarge its size. You don't want to have any white margins around the edges of the canvas. Once you've resized it, tap the arrow icon to pin its place. If the color of your background image is too dark or rough, you might want to lower the opacity on layer 1. Tap on the N to adjust. This will give it a more realistic texture. After adjusting the opacity, slide layer 1 to the left and lock it. Next, press the plus sign to add a new layer. Let's draw the outline of the design, like the lines around Mount Fuji and the tree branches. We'll arrange a pen called Tinderbox from the inking section. But before doing so, duplicate the Tinderbox brush by swiping it to the left and select Duplicate. Open the duplicated brush and adjust its maximum size to 100 in the brush properties. Next, select Taper. In the real world, it looks more artistic when the ends of your brush strokes are thin and pointy, so drag the two sliders a little bit in. Tap Done to finish the adjustments. Now, this new brush can express similar effects to the actual ink running on paper. If you draw gently, you can draw thin strokes, and with more pressure, the ink blots. Let's use this brush to draw the outlines of Mount Fuji. Instead of trying to draw with equal pressure all the time, apply pressure to look as sophisticated as the real ink painting. Since the top of Mount Fuji is covered in snow during winter, draw a borderline between the snow and the mountain. Add details of the mountain's bumpy surface as well. If you want to adjust the position of your art, tap on the arrow button to resize or reposition. Next, we're going to draw a plum tree below Mount Fuji. First, draw the branches. And again, vary the pressure as you draw. Now, draw a pine tree in the top left corner. Since the branches and stems of pine trees have a more uneven surface than plum trees, use strong and gentle strokes to produce that. And add lines for the pine needles as well. In Japan, pine trees are symbols of longevity and endurance, as the fresh green color of the needles is preserved during the cold season. We're adding the colors in a moment. Now add a new layer and move it below the outline layer that we've been working on. Let's color in Mount Fuji. We'll still be using the Tinderbox brush we used for the outlines. Select a blue color good for Mount Fuji and adjust your brush strokes in this case too, because we want to describe light and shade like in this example. To do that, lower the opacity to around 40 to 50% and add several layers of color. The tip of the brush can be quite bold, around 30 should be good. Color in your drawings on your own terms. Just play around by, for example, gradually darkening towards the top or adding more layers of color in some parts of the image. You don't really have to follow the traditional forms in ink painting, and one tip is to reflect your current emotions and feelings into your work by adjusting the brush pressure. If you've applied too much color, long press to switch to the eraser brush and remove the excessive. Then long press the finger symbol to use the smudge tool. Blending the colors would create a water-like interpretation. Blurring the edges would look more like the physical artwork. Next, let's paint the plum blossoms in red. Select a vermilion color and paint some flowers on the branches. In this stage, set the brush a bit thinner. Paint the red blossoms over the branches like this. And you can produce a stereoscopic effect by layering the color. Then we'll color in the pine tree. Choose a rather deep green and paint over the lines of the needles you drew earlier. As in the case of the plum blossoms, layering the color will leave an impression of depth. Plum blossoms bloom when it's still cold before the warm spring comes. To this end, like pine trees, they also represent endurance and vitality in Japanese culture. Alright, once you've pretty done with the pine needles, let's apply some yellowish brownish color to the tree trunks. In this way, you can add some glitz and glamour to the whole picture. Just applying the color partially would be nice. Next, let's draw the sun. Choose a red color and paint the sun on the left of Mount Fuji. Draw a circle and layer darker colors on the lower part. Later on, use the smudge tool to blend the border of the sun. Now the coloring is all done. Finally, create an additional layer for writing the text. Move this new layer to the very top. You can use the same brush, but adjust the opacity to 100% if you've lowered it, and set the brush size to around 25 to 30% to write letters. Let's write these words, which means the sun also rises in Japanese, to match the image of the sun rising behind Mount Fuji. The original Japanese text is read Hiwa mata noboru. Hi means the sun, mata stands for also, and noboru is rise in Japanese. Anyway, let's change the brush color to black. When writing on a postcard, don't worry about writing perfect, pretty letters. Just write freely, imagining the person you are sending to. You can adjust the position by selecting the arrow button and moving it around even after writing it. Now your postcard is complete. Finally, let's save your finished work. Tap the wrench icon in the top left. Make sure you're in the Share section and select JPEG. It'll be saved to your Photos app as you select Save Image. Print out the image and a beautiful postcard is all set. Hope you all try it out.